Hello friends, welcome to Database Academy. So in this session we will see how we can use external table to read and write the external files. So external file like a txt file or it may be a CSV file. So let's start. So let us see what is external table. So external table is a table but it does not store any data inside the database. It fetch the data from the external file like text file or it may be a CSV file. In case of SQL loader, it we need to do so many configuration. We need to create a data file. We need to create a control file and the target table. So these all parameters configuration. These things we need to do while using the SQL loader. But in external table, we just need to create the table structure and that is done. Once we execute the external table using select statement, it will automatically fetch the record from the external table and it will display the result. Let's see the advantage of the external table. Here we don't need to do a loading part like insert, update or delete. That kind of things we don't need to manage because external table automatically manage those things. We don't need to create a control file for that, so automatically it will take care of that with using the parameters. So delete operation also we don't need to maintain in the external table. Now let's see the syntax of the external table, how we can create it. So external table can be created like using a normal table. Like syntax will be same as in normal table. Create table, table name and all the columns name and these are the columns name and their data types we need to mention. And after that we need to mention like a organization as external. So this indicates that's a Oracle, that it's an external table. Then we need to define a type, whether a Oracle loader or Oracle data pump. So Oracle loader, when we want to read the external file and put it in a table, that we need to use a Oracle loader. And data pump, when we need to read our database table and put it in a dump file, in that case we need to use data pump. So then there is a default directory where we need to read the file. So exactly which location we need to read the file. So we need to mention, we need to create a directory in the deviate directory tables and it will read from that table. And these are the parameters which can be defined: record delimited by new line. So it will indicate that start reading a new record from the next line. Bad file, it's like whenever is there, in case there is any invalid rows or rejected rows are there, that will be inserted into the bad file. So log. Okay, now next is log file. So log file, like when you will find all the details like how many record has been processed, is there any bad file created or all the stuff. Discard file. Discard file is like when there is no satisfying row found, then it will be, you will find in the detail in a discard file. Next is skip to skip and skip number of rows. So it's generally skip. Let's say we have a these many rows in a text file and I want to skip these 2 rows. So I can mention like a skip 2. So this field terminated by this comma is like a based on comma, it will based on comma it will refer that it's a new field. Okay, so like here 101 comma, then 101 is our employee number, then comma is next column, Ram is the employee name. So that it's continue. So by comma it will understand that it's a next field. Reject row with all null values field. So in case there is no if there, so in case there is null value for all fields, it will simply reject, it will not do anything. Missing fields values are null. So this indicate that in case there is no fields value found, then it will treat as a null. Next is location. So here we need to define the exact external file name. So we need to mention the file name here and .txt, or it can be a CSV. So reject limit, it's like a how many rejection can be happen low. So in case of any failure, how many record or how many rejection it will accept. So so that can be controlled using this reject limit. That also a limit optional. Now let's see when we should use this external table. So we can use this external table in a report generation purpose. So sometimes like we get the data from the client side from the daily, hourly or weekly basis, and as soon as we get the files we need to process and we need to generate the report. And once the report is generated we need to send the customer, and after that there is no need of that record. So if there is a requirement we have where we don't need to maintain the table data, we can use this external table where data we don't need to maintain in the table. So that time we can use this external table. So these are the parameters which I have already explained. Now let's see how we can implement all those things practically, and we'll see. So before, as I have mentioned here, let's go back in the, as I have mentioned, like here we need a directory. So where, from where, which location it will actually read those files. So this ext employee table is an external directory name. So how we can create a directory, let us see. So this is a directory table which is Oracle defined. So here you will see so many directories are there which internally Oracle used. So we can also create our own directory here. How we can create? We need to use this syntax, create or replace directory, and then this is the directory name we need to provide, as I have mentioned here, ext emp table, and as the location where we want to keep all the external file, like I have mentioned a ctemp. So from ctemp it will, we need to keep all those files so that it will read from here, and we need to create this one. So directory emp created. Now if we execute this, we'll see the exe emp table. So which is mentioned that directory path is ctemp file. Okay, so now if we want like this directory to be grant to other user as well, we can grant this one. So grant read write execute on directory to HR. So HR is my other user. So I have connected as an system user, so which have all the privilege, and now I'm providing this directory access to some other user like it is HR. Now we need to provide the grant read grant to HR also if we want to provide them, so that he can also able to execute this DBA directory. So we can provide that also. Now and now let's create the table. So the syntax, as I have explained earlier, create table, this table name as normal, and then column name, data type, we need to mention all those things. So it's depend on how the column and the data type structure will be depend on the business requirement. We need to define this, and then this is our organization external, indicate that it's a external table. Now here I have mentioned as in type is a Oracle loader, so it will read the external file, which is either it can be a text file or it can be a CSV file. And this is the directory which I have created, this here directory name. And these all the parameters which I have earlier explained, we can use whenever whichever is required. So here I have used like only two. Record delimited by new line, that means it will treat as a new row for next line, and fields terminated by a comma separate. Okay, and this is like a location is like we need to mention the text file name or CSV file name. So here I have mentioned this one, employee detail. If I open this one, these are the data I have mentioned. So 101 Ram T Rahul Prakash, and these are like I have mentioned some invalid rows as well, so that we'll see what is happening with the invalid rows. And here I have mentioned like a reject limit 5. So what will happen if I remove this? Let's remove it and create this table. Now if I execute this, okay, so already created. No, I need to drop the table if this is already exist. Okay, now I'll create a table. Now table is created. Now if I execute this, select a star from EMP external table. So now it is throwing reject limit reached. That means I have not mentioned any reject limits. So by default it will be 0. So in case there is any invalid record found, that will be treated as an rejected row. So now if I remove it, save it. So now there is no any invalid records. All are valid only. So now if I execute this, see, I got all the records from the reading this table. Reading this text file. So it is reading all those text file data from the text file, and it is displaying to our database table. And syntax is normal as we are using select a star from. We can apply any where condition also. It's not like where condition. It can where condition will not work. Here we can apply any where condition as well. But only thing is we cannot do as I said, we cannot perform any DML operation. So if I want to delete, we cannot perform any DML operation in the external table. So this was the how we can create the external table and how we can load this. So now as I have mentioned, now we'll check with the reject limit what will happen. So as I have executed once, so we'll see here there is already bat file and log file is created. So these are the log files when it was opened, and is there any bad file created, and what was the delimited, and other stuff are there. How many records has been processed, this kind of stuff will be there in the log file. And in the bad file there is only one. So now what we will do, we'll set the reject limit unlimited. So what it will do, even though now we'll add some, now we have added 2 more invalid records. Now we'll see what will happen. So first we need to drop the table. Now we'll create this table created. Now if I execute this, you will see all the valid records are there. So these all are valid records. So all valid records are displaying using external table. Now all the other invalid records will be available in this. If you see this one, all the invalid records are available in this bad file. So that's the use of log and bad file. Now we'll see the inline view. So from 18C onwards, they have introduced the inline view. That means we don't need to create this table. We can use in a select statement the entire structure of the creation of external table can be used in a selected statement, and it will work like same way as we have created a table. Now let's see how it will be used. So here what I have mentioned, like a select a star from external, so that it will treat as an external table, and then Oracle loader, and then I have defined a directory, and I have mentioned the and I have mentioned all the parameters. So it's not mandatory that we need to mention all those things. It will automatically create default naming with default name if we don't mention all those things. Okay, now what here what it is doing, it is going to read this employee detail table. Now if I execute this, let me close all those things. Okay, and we'll see how it will work. Now if I execute this also fetching all the records and displaying. Here it is only displaying 3 records. Okay, but when we have a 5 records, valid 5 records, why it is storing 3 only? Because of this skip 2. So I have mentioned like a skip first 2. So that's why it start from 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5. So these are the like parameters which can be set. And we can read this CSV file as well. So let's see how it will work with CSV file. Now I'll put like this. Okay. Okay, now let's see the CSV file structure. So we have mentioned like this one. So in the CSV file, we'll see how many records are there. So there are 4 records are there. Okay, so let's see how this will read it. Now if I execute this, Mary and Teja, these two only displaying because skip 2 is there, and it's reading the CSV file as well. Now if I remove this, which is not a mandatory things, now let's execute this. It is fetching all the records from this CSV file also. Okay, so these are like optional. It's not mandatory that we need to all define these. Only things like we need to mention these things, and these two are important. Other parameters are optional. We can mention that things. So this is how we can use this is how we can read the CSV file and the text file. Now let's see how we can read 2 CSV files. So let's say consider that you have a 2 separate file department wise. So department 10 have department 10 related have employee detail in one CSV, and department 20 related have all the employee detail in separate CSV. How we can fetch the data from both the CSV? How we can do? Let's see. So the syntax will be same, only there is no change in the syntax. Only thing is we need to mention here on both the CSV files. So employed it all and employed it all too. So as let's see how many records are there. So if we check, like we have there is 2 records. Okay. So here is Smith, John, Mary, Teja, and here is Smith 2, John 3, Mary 4, and 1. These are the different files which is containing department 1 and department 2 data. Now let's execute how this will read both the files, and it will merge the data and it will display the data. Okay, so this is how it is going to read both the CSV file, and it will display the data. So that was the all about the Oracle loader. how we can use this type Oracle loader and the external file. In our next video, we'll see how we can use a data pump to read our tables and put it in a external file. So thank you so much for watching my channel. If you have not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe and like this video. Thank you so much.